So having been laid low by the flu for about 5 days now, obviously I've got bored. Otherwise, this podcast probably wouldn't have been made. Last Wednesday, which is 5 days ago, in the morning I was fine. Went for a nice long walk, blah blah blah. 3 o'clock by Wednesday afternoon, I had a temperature of 40 degrees and there was a shivering wreck in bed, which is where I stayed for nearly 3 days. Short of bathroom breaks. How polite, bathroom breaks. Having sort of recovered to some extent from that, and I should say I'm one of these people who uses colloidal silver if I breathe it in whenever I get anything resembling flu, and for me personally it works quite well. Might not work for you, but I don't give a shit about you, so I'm just passing on some information. So the title of this is Why You Hate Social Occasions. Well, I've discussed many times in the podcast the basic dynamics of life, really, and you can find this in the other podcasts, so I'm not going to spend a long time on it. Basically, everything wants to exist. You want to continue existing, and you want to do it in the most powerful way possible. You may say that you don't, but you do. And if you say, well, I feel suicidal, then I'll say to you, well, why do you feel suicidal? Well, because it all seems pointless. Well, and then I say to you, why does it all seem pointless? Well, blah blah blah. So what you are implicitly saying is you want it not to be pointless, and for it all to have some meaning, and for you to have meaning. In other words, you want some kind of power. So why would you hate social occasions? Because actually social occasions are sparring sessions. You may not see them like that. If you don't, then you're probably one of the losers in those kind of situations. The kind of person who just says, "Oh, it was really nice to meet so and so and so and so," and we had a drink, blah blah blah, not realizing that the predators were either finding a way into your bank balance, or finding a way to get you into bed, or whatever. So let's talk about a few social occasions. Funerals. The most ridiculous, of course I'm talking from a Western European point of view. The most ridiculous social occasion is the funeral and the meat afterwards. I'll give you a good example, a very sad example. I have an uncle, he's still alive, who I love dearly. He was more of a father to me than my own father. And some years, about a decade ago, his wife died. And he and his wife were like hand and glove. She was a meticulous, very bubbly, and very thorough kind of person. He, on the other hand, was the big gesture man. Let's go to Las Vegas. Yes, but how are we going to get to Las Vegas, dear? Oh yeah, we need tickets, don't we? Yes, and where are we going to stay? So anyway, it was that kind of relationship. When she died, he ended up in the church. He was draped over the coffin, sobbing, weeping. And it was heartbreaking to see. But hey, guess what? Social protocol required that afterwards he go and do small talk while we all eat fucking crappy sandwiches and sausage rolls. And nobody wants to really say anything that might hurt him, but equally you don't want to totally ignore the fact that it's the funeral of his wife, and the whole thing's very awkward. I'm sure you've experienced it. And then we have weddings. I mean, weddings are just abominations. Two families facing each other off. I've been to weddings where the event has degenerated into a brawl. It was more honest actually than the slightly higher class well-to-do weddings where the weaponry is how much you've got, where you've been, what school your kids go to, and all the rest of it. But some kind of competitive sparring that goes on. I mean, of course, there are parts of these kind of events where people are genuinely fond of and affectionate and want to see each other. But the fact is that most of what goes on at these events is sparring. And then business meetings. Well, in all of these situations actually, the whole thing breaks down into wolves and sheep. You're a wolf if you are knowingly going somewhere as a predator. So, in a business situation, you're going there to hopefully rip somebody off. In a social situation, maybe you're going out because you want to get someone in bed. Or maybe it's I don't know, what other kind of situations do people get into? The neighborhood barbecue or something. Well, it's, we've got a bigger swimming pool than you, or, we've just been on a better holiday than you, or all that kind of stuff. This is how people big themselves up. This is the very nature of existence for human beings, most human beings anyway. So, you should hate social situations because they are boring, high stress, and totally unrewarding things to do. I know some people who are driven by social situations, and you speak to them and say, well, look, you've just been out for the day with, Fred, Joe, Sally and Tom. How was it? Oh, it was really nice. And then you talk to them a little bit more, and what kind of thing? Oh, well, Sally was bragging about her kids getting into this new, and and blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden you find that actually it wasn't a very nice day at all, and the day simply served to fill in the time for this person. It's said that introverts get charged up by their own energy, by being with themselves. And that extroverts get charged up by being with other people. Doesn't that sound a bit like vampires? Yeah, I'm being unkind towards extroverts because introverts have had a hard time of it. But I think a lady called Susan Cain produced a book called Quiet in a World That Won't Stop Talking, or something like that, and I'm not going to find the exact title because I just feel too crappy to do that. But anyway, Quiet in a World That Won't Stop Talking. And apparently she reckons about half the world is introvert, i.e. doesn't like going out to show what it's got, what it's done, where it's been, squaring up, I've got better than you, yada yada yada. Half the world doesn't like doing that, but feels obliged to do it. because the fucking extroverts are the ones shouting their mouth off all the time, making everybody feel that they have to be like them. Oh, I've been out today, I've been... You know, if you're not posting on Facebook every bloody meal that you've eaten, every walk that you've been on, every car journey that you've been on, every flight that you've been on, every airport you've been to, every train that you've sat on, then there's something wrong with you, or your life must be so drab and boring. Well, no, actually, the people who do that obviously have very drab, boring lives, because if they had something more interesting, then they wouldn't be doing all that shit on Facebook. So, if you like social occasions, then, and in fact, more generally, if you know people who like social occasions, they are people who are worth avoiding. And they're worth avoiding because they are the predators. They are the ones who go to business meetings hoping to rip somebody off, to a party hoping just to get someone in bed or whatever, or go to a barbecue so that they can big themselves up and make other people feel crappy. Those are the people to avoid. And let them go and charge themselves up on some poor suckers who are taken in by, you know, the big mouth and the extrovert personality. So, on that note, I will go back to my cup of tea, a warm fire, and thinking of the next outrageous thing I can say.